Are you ready to be educated? Because I am. Roguelites and Roguelights, they're all the same. Or are they? If you've always wondered what makes a roguelike, you've come to the right place. Roll those credits. Roguelikes. The games that make up this tough-as-nails, make-ya-cry-to-your-mama video game genre have grown in number, complexity, and acclaim over the past decade or so. With these games becoming so prevalent, you would think that what makes a game a roguelike would be easily definable and understood by the video game populace at large. However, that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, when questioned on the topic of roguelikes, the very founder of the S35 network replied, I don't know. I mostly play boomer shooters. The consensus among the majority of gamers seems to be along the same lines, minus the boomer shooter part. Roguelike is used as a marketing buzzword, but few people can actually tell you what it is outside of crushing difficulty. Well, S35 Gaming is here to remedy that today, and we're going to use an awesome new indie roguelike to illustrate this journey. So let's get started on defining roguelikes with Lone Ruin. The first thing you need to understand about roguelikes is that they often take after a little game called Rogue. Now, nobody under the age of 40 has played or even remembers Rogue, but its features and format have left an indelible mark on the video game industry all the same. The features that set Rogue apart can be broken down into a few pillars: permadeath, procedural generation, turn-based combat, dungeon crawling through interconnected rooms, difficult, trial and error focused gameplay, and no progression or improvement in between runs. The only way to make progress and improve is to develop the skills the game requires of you. In the case of Lone Ruin, what you have is a game that checks enough boxes to be deemed a roguelike, but not all of them. This spellcasting twin-stick action game will put you in your place, make you start from the very beginning of a procedurally generated dungeon upon death, and throws enough powerful projectile-spewing enemies at you to make your head spin until you get to a juiced-up boss encounter that will probably knock you on your butt and put you back at the start. More than once. Learning which spells are most effective and have the best synergies is not just incredibly fun, but a core feature of the game, and the only way to move forward. So yes, Lone Ruin is a roguelike in every sense of the genre, minus the turn-based combat. But who needs that when you can zap, pierce, and burn enemies in every direction by spinning the right stick around? Not me. Lone Ruin's situation is startlingly common among games that are labeled as roguelikes. This is probably what has led to most gamers just associating roguelikes with extreme difficulty and not being able to define what a roguelike really is. In fact, the only game that truly checks all of the boxes of a roguelike is Darkest Dungeon, a game so upsettingly difficult that you have to be an actual masochist to enjoy it. I enjoy eldritch horrors as much as the next guy, but having one character lose their mind and off another team member, and another unalive themselves after reading an ancient scroll all in the same run is not fun. Funny, maybe, but not fun. In most cases, Darkest Dungeon included, the aspects that make a game a roguelike feel unfair and off-putting to most gamers outside of those hardcore roguelike lovers. To remedy this, a subgenre called Roguelights has been developed over time. Roguelights keep the majority of those roguelike features, but introduce a sense of progression and advancement that carries over between runs. Games like Rogue Legacy, Dead Cells, and even Hades all have ways to unlock new powers or items that can make future runs more viable, which are not present in a full-on roguelike. So if you're like me and thought roguelite was just a misspelling of roguelike that people ran with, you're wrong. But it's okay. We're all learning here, and hopefully this will put the final nail in the coffin for the misunderstanding of the roguelike genre and its offshoots. So the next time someone mistakenly refers to a video game as a roguelike or confuses a roguelike with a roguelite, send them this video. They'll learn something. We'll get views. Everybody wins. So what's your favorite roguelike? Let us know in the comments, but treat each other well. And while you're here, why don't you check out our Indie Game Spotlight on Chop Goblins? And stay tuned for our upcoming Story Behind episode on Forspoken. I'm Mike Golczynski, and I'll see you in the next video.